Hey guys, just finished watching Arrow Season 7, Episode 15, Training Day. This episode was kind of interesting. At first, going into this episode, seeing the first half of it, I kind of figured, ooh, this is such a weird episode to happen, Episode 15 of Season 7, where we only have a few more episodes left this season. So episode 15 of 22. So we have about, 7 episodes left. And then we only have another 10 episodes left. So another 10 episodes for season 8. So that's only 17 episodes left entirely in Arrow. And I think it's kind of interesting that they did this. They started this whole thing up where they're not really in their costumes. But the way things finish out, it's going to be interesting to see as to where things go. So we start off the episode with Felicity and Oliver kind of talking about her being pregnant and stuff. Felicity's doesn't really want to, she wants to keep it a secret and stuff. So I think that was kind of interesting. Obviously they got to keep it a secret because for the flash forwards and stuff, it's a secret. So that's interesting. We see that the Blackout Gang is using these kind of poison bullets and stuff. So that was kind of cool, the whole storyline. Ben Turner, Bronze Tiger, ends up calling Laurel to talk to her about who killed Diaz and stuff. That was interesting, and revealed that Emiko killed Diaz. So that'll be kind of interesting to see as to where things go with that, because when she finally confronts Emiko about it, she's like, well, no one's going to believe you, Black Siren and stuff. Well, I think that's a bit weird because, yeah, they're going to believe her because they trust her. I mean, Felicity trusts her. I mean, Felicity had one of the longbow hunters chained up and was almost torturing her, and Laura was there, not really was keeping that secret. So there's a lot of trust built in there. There's a bit of trust built with Laurel, even almost more than Emiko, just because she's brand new. Now there's going to be a lot of trust for Emiko, just straight up given. I think all trust is going to be given because she's his sister, and there's not going to be any kind of anything held back. But I don't think there's any trust left to be in there. So I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go. Does she try and go to everyone? Does she keep it a secret? What is Laurel going to do what is Black Siren going to do with this knowledge that Emiko killed Diaz? I think that's going to be quite interesting to see as to kind of where things go, especially since we got the reveal last episode that she's working for Dante and stuff. So I think that's going to be interesting to see as to kind of where things go with that. So we see the team is not allowed to wear their costumes and weapons, and that's when I thought, oof, that's a bit weird to do that. 17 episodes before the end, 17 episodes left in Arrow entirely, and they're not allowed to wear their costumes or use their weapons. And then I was thinking, well, what about their powers? And the only person who has powers is Black Canary, and her powers are kind of gone. So it'll be interesting to see as to where things go with that. And then we have seen, announcements of Black Canary and a Birds of Prey episode. I think it's going to be titled, I think there's a title here on Lost Canary. So season episode 18, Lost Canary, which should appear, it says it's going to be out on April 1st, so April Fool's Day. So that's going to be interesting. There's some photos already posted online that Katie Lotz will be back, so that'll be cool to see that. And she posted that even to her Instagram and stuff, so that'll be really interesting to see that. And hopefully when we get that, having her back and having Laurel and all three of them together and stuff, that it could be quite interesting to seeing, maybe they end up teaching her how to get her canary cry back. Or actually, no, Katie Lotz doesn't even have a canary cry, but I think it could be something interesting to see, and just to see an episode with the three of them could be quite fun. So we see Oliver ends up forcing a confession out of one of the main guys, some billionaire. I think it's James Maiden, I think is the guy. I'm not entirely sure. But, it's obviously thrown out because he got the confession out of duress. So that was quite interesting with that. And then Diggle later on is told about the baby. Obviously has to, because, Don Diggle Jr. knows about it knew about it in the future and stuff. So that's kind of interesting there. And then we end the episode with Team Arrow kind of working, because it didn't work out when they were working with the police department, and then now they have to work. Now they get to work out of their bunker throughout the rest of this season. So I think that's going to be interesting, especially because they had this guy, one of the guys who was training them at the beginning of the episode, who was giving them the speech while they were all kind of. They were all kind of sitting down when they're all in their training uniforms, and they were forcing them to kind of, wear the SCPD uniforms and not use their weapons, use the police issues and all that stuff. And I don't understand as to where it just seemed we didn't get that storyline. Dinah mentions that she talked to the mayor. She kind of convinced the mayor to agree on all this stuff, but we never saw that. We need to have seen that. I feel like we need to have seen her convince the mayor and how she convinces the mayor to let them, work as a team, work just the team in the bunker, but still work. There's no oversight, and the only person who's there to keep them in check is Dinah, and yet I don't see the mayor letting that happen, or anyone else at the police department letting that happen, or even just other police officers just not being okay with that and reporting that to someone up, to the mayor or someone like that. So it just seems a bit weird that all of a sudden they're just able to, at the end of this episode, the problem is they couldn't work alone, and they never solved that problem. They don't show us the whole problem with this episode was that they couldn't follow, they couldn't do it the police way and the SCPD way and stuff. And then at the end of the episode, they get to do it their way type thing, and there's just no explanation as how they got the allowance and the okay to do that, and it doesn't really didn't really show anything how to do it, and how were they able to go out the second time at the end? They just took off in their own costumes, and that was allowed. How was that not allowed? Like, we didn't feel like we're missing pieces. We're missing that conversation that was just thrown away in a line of dialogue. We should have seen that conversation to show us how they actually got the okay to do that. And I think that would have been an interesting. How did they convince the mayor to do that? And apparently the vigilante act is going to be. She's going to sign it to revoke it and stuff. Well, why is she doing that? That seems completely out of character for the mayor. So what we're missing that conversation to where Dinah convinced the mayor. I think it could have been an interesting episode to change the mayor's opinion, as if they had. The mayor maybe could have a daughter, could have a kid, could have a whatever, something like that, or mother, or a family member. A perfect thing would be having a child, and then also the child gets abducted, and the red tape gets in the way, and Team Arrow ends up going off the books and saving her, and that's how things work, right? I think that could be something interesting way to see. Maybe there's a hostage situation or something like that, and then all things get worse because the Team Arrow were having to follow the SCPD way. Now, I'm not talking about the whole. I understand they're never going to be able to do the whole. He's not going to be able to force any confessions out of people because that'll be under duress. That won't be legal confessions and stuff. That'll throw everything out. But the idea that they have to wear the police uniforms versus the Arrow costumes and stuff. It just seems like there could have been a different way to showing and building, having the mayor changing her mind on that situation. I think that could have been something an interesting way. Whereas here it was kind of thrown away to a line of dialogue, and it's just kind of, oh, yeah, she's agreeing to it. We don't really see her, her changing their mind, and it just seems out of character. Seems a bit weird that she would just do that out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense. So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go with all this. I think it's going to be quite interesting just to see as to where things could continue on, especially with the next episode. I think it's titled next episode is Star City 2040, so that could be interesting. It looks like it's going to be an entire episode in the future. That could be fun, and it seems like based on the trailer, maybe that Felicity will be in there, so that could be interesting to see that, to see if there's any kind of, maybe we get flashbacks from that to Mia and William and stuff, or maybe Mia growing up and stuff. So obviously, William, we know what's going on with him and stuff. I think that's going to be quite interesting to seeing as to where things kind of go with that storyline. And I think it could be interesting to see as to what Felicity's getting up to, and how things have gone. How much has she changed? How similar is she to? There was that Legend of Tomorrow episode where they were in the future, and it was a dystopian future where the Legion of Doom had destroyed everything, and Felicity Smoke was a vigilante. She was one of the only vigilantes left, right? And I think she even dies in that episode, but they end up resetting time, obviously. But the idea of that, how she was a vigilante, could be something interesting. Could that be another idea for her here, in this storyline for 2040, which is only, if I'm not mistaken, only 9 years ago. 2049 is when we first saw Connor Hawke back in the first season of Legend of Tomorrow. So I think that could be fun too, just seeing her as some sort of vigilante or ex-vigilante type thing. It could be quite interesting. Although the Arrow writers and producers have said that they would never give her a costume, so I think an interesting idea would maybe in this way they could maybe not give us her costume. Maybe say she tried it once. She tried being a vigilante a little bit, and when it came time, and I don't know, could be something interesting to see. So I'm all in all, I'm kind of interested to see as to where things go with that storyline. I just don't know as to where things are going to go with this season. I'm afraid as to where things, did they know that this was going to be that season 8 was going to be the last season going into it? I feel like probably not. They would have done a different storyline. So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go with this. But it's going to be interesting to see as to where we start seeing the end of Arrow and type thing. But I doubt we'll probably see that until season 8 and stuff. So all in all, I can't wait to see as to where things go with all this. I think it's going to be quite interesting just to see how things kind of fold out. So let me know what you think, guys, in the comments below. And see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.